Hello, hello, is this thing on? Yeah, hi. I'm filming my gameplay of Civilization 6 to show you how I think. I'm playing as Amgaiorix, someone who probably was one of my ancestors or related to my ancestors or was guided my ancestors or I don't know, something like that. I choose him because he has these pretty strong beginning of the game units who I like, and then he pairs well with when you build a unit, it gives you culture, and then when those units destroy, others, they have better. They attack stronger units with more um, strength, and then we got the power of the mind, adding culture with a culture bomb. And then, Oppidum, well, it's a Latin name, obviously, for something that was Gaulish. But it's a place for the Celtic men to gather and create together and then protect each other and then, their families as well. So I think this is a great representation for my ancestors, along with, um, you know, pride in a way. So I'm right by this lake, and I got my little warriors. I'm gonna send them onto this hill just some more exploring, and then there's this my colonist or my settler. I'm gonna have it go to this space next to the lake, so that's fresh water. I don't like chopping down forests. I try to preserve as many forests and natural elements in the game as possible. So I think this is a great spot to build a city. And I always change the names of my cities to something representative of what I want to, you know, represent. So Dick Toucher is my capital city's name, right, built onto this lake. It's kind of cute, I think. That's where I live, supposedly, and these are my neighbors, are the ones that I rule over. So we're obviously going to build a farm on this wheat field, make some bread. I'm gonna let these cattle live their lives, the best lives they want. So I'm gonna do that. Eventually, we're gonna get these corn fields worked up, and over here is some sheep. So I'm gonna make some wool because I love wool socks. Eventually, we will build a logging camp on one of these forest spaces here, but probably one away from the water and away from our downtown because that's not cute. Logging camp right next to the water or downtown? No. So to hide that shit a little bit. Got a little event 'cause we got our town settled. Ooh, we're settled on the continent of Siberia. Interesting. And let's choose our technologies. I always choose what gives me the most bang for my buck, and that's this. Animal husbandry. Allows us to get that sheep to make some wool socks. Keep our men's feet warm when it gets, look at there's snow here, so obviously it's going to be a cold space in a dick toucher. Warm feet mean you get to have better circulation, which means, more fertility for a civilization, which is important to think about if you want to grow quickly, right? So we got our scouts. I'll build that first because we get the most fastest. Then we'll go build a frondeur, which is for a slinger. David and Goliath help protect our town center, not having to leave. They can go out and explore the Gezatis. Okay, then we're going to build a bâtisseur, a builder. And I get a monument, finally, and then another gazat. Gezat, 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 I don't know. Gezat is how I would think it's pronounced if we're doing French, but if it's from Latin, it's like Gezat, Gezates, Gezates. I don't know. Gezates. I'm gonna stop on that one. Okay, let's go to the next turn and see what happens. All right, we're gonna go onto this hills. Maybe see what these wild sheep are up to. You know, before we just learned how to. We're still researching how to tame animals and how to make laws. So, you know, maybe exploring them will help us learn how to tame them. I'm gonna save now because it's the beginning of the game. I already had an older version of an Amgaiorix game that's set on the Earth map. And you know, those are really predictable. So I'm going to save over it. And we're going to continue after I get a few more things set up. I always do put on the map things like, oh, we're going to build a farm here. And once I have like explored, I do things like I add, let's buy this tile eventually. And let's buy this tile eventually. And let's buy this tile eventually. There's a lot of good tiles around here. There's a salt, I mean. We're gonna have some salty bread. We're gonna have some tortilla chips. That's that one. You know, corn and salt. This is very lucrative. All right, we're almost there. What's this one now? Spices, I think? Ooh, yes. And then this is a very nice location for capital of the Gaulish Empire, a dick toucher. And then if you just forget it, you know, I just can throw, where are the resources on? And you know, we need to explore a little bit more to get our full scope of territory around our capital city, but we'll get there. Until then. All right, I jumped ahead some time. Let's see, it's been 104 turns since I last saw you, maybe like 100 turns or so. This is a marathon game, so the turns take longer to do things. The game is telling me, as the Gauls, who have typically larger cities because their inner circle of the city is not allowed to have special districts, just resource improvements and wonders. So I don't want to have the city recommendation right here. She says it should be there. I don't trust her. Okay, so because my cities need to be big, I don't want to build it on the resource. I'm going to build it kind of right between all these resources, the wheat for bread and the wool for the wool socks. You know, my people like wool socks. So we're going to go there, unless you kind of follow us along as we go through these turns until we build our second city. As you know, we've discovered Canada and the United States and America. Canada likes us, America's not sure yet. This is how the world is. This is where we are. Those people. Ooh, we just got a nonce. We are gonna take out this poor yellow goat. Anyway, right, we're gonna burn it down to town and take all of it with us. Because I wish this game could like let you like maybe like recruit the barbarians into your team or something like that instead of like fight them, but whatever. It's an imperfect game. But maybe in the future there'll be games where you can like, you know, like when they have a barbarian village and you have a lot of money, you can convince them to like give you some troops, which is very cool. But it's not like they then like become part of your town unless you make them into. You have to make them into a separate city state first, and then you can. I'm trying to make this spot better since that this city center is really inundated with resources. We're going to send this one on exploration mode. I got lost in train of thought. Anyway, as you can see, the land is growing around a dick toucher. We bought some, and when you build a mine, it naturally expands. As I am a vegetarian, I will not, you know, enslave the cattle, nor will I hunt the other two horned beings, the deer here. But we will domesticate the the horses, we can have cowboys, 'cause that's kinky. And eventually we'll have the, farming. We just got to build another builder. So we have salt and horses. So, obviously we probably wild catch things and salt it, and then, we ride horses around. It's fun. Building a new city soon. Just took out there was another barbarian village up here, right around this area that we took out before we could settle around here. And then probably another city more on this lake eventually, since we took out this barbarian. Keep doing it. Let's sand this up here to explore area around this new city. And this will keep exploring to keep this, like, patrolling this area. And then, alright, we're going to build our next city. Alright, it tells me that it's going to be an area with a lot of floods. I'm like, alright, keep it fertile, right? A little Norlean style. I guess we're going to have that vibe in Amgaiorix. So, cool. Amgaiorix. Well, we're going to keep it coming. But we're going to... I might just keep it the same. Dick toucher. There you come. Yeah. I'll just keep it a very cut. That's fine. It's pretty homoerotic in my mind. We keep it that way. I only plan one city's purchases at a time to focus my resources, and I'll just let the other cities kind of grow. So I'm only going to focus my money on purchasing tile hexes around a dick toucher. Let's see if we can do that. Not yet. We need 260. We're going to go after this mine of silver, I think it is. Yeah. Help the werewolves stay a little more tamed, right? It's important. An important part of society, but you gotta keep them, focused. Amen. Amen, amen. We're getting our queue up. We always build a builder in each place, and with the Gauls, or some people say they're Celts, I'm always going to have them build special units as much as possible. And we got the buildings queued up. I have it in fastest order so that we get the most things to happen, and then, like, as they grow, these numbers will tick down because, like, a city the size of 2 will have more resources coming in to build with than a city the size of 1. Okay. I think this is about a good time to let y'all get going, and I had a good time getting on to blessings upon all your phalluses, bro.